Okay, what's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. Today, we are back with another tier list style video. For this one, we're going to be talking about Coliseums, because I was actually having a look on my YouTube channel, and I noticed that some of those tier list style videos, like with raids, Coliseums, treasure maps, they are getting a little bit outdated. Like, the Colosseum one, I just had a look, came out 5 months ago, so, you know, we've had a few Colosseums since then, and, you know, some characters have become more important than others, so this is a good opportunity here to talk about them, and in the coming days or week or so, I will upload one for raid bosses or clashes. I'll be uploading a separate one for that. For treasure map characters, that one was semi-recent, so I'll wait a little bit off for that one. But for raids and Colosseums, I will be doing updated versions of these, which today, of course, we have all of the Colosseum characters. Now, first of all, I want to say massive shout out to this website, OPTC-tierlist.com. The link to it is down below in the video description, because this website was a community-created website to allow people to make tier lists for whatever, you know, is out at the time, which is great because they've gone for raids, Colosseum, rare recruits, whatever. I could do one for rare recruits as well, but there are lots of rare recruits and it's very difficult to do it. It would take a lot of time and research and maybe asking around with other players to kind of determine which rare recruits are like overall the best, and because there are lots there. Either way, I digress. We're not talking about rare recruits in this video. We're talking about Colosseums. So in this video, I want to kind of talk about which are the best ones, like if you see them out, you need to farm them, or which ones you may want to pick up if you have certain other Sugo Fest exclusives or other characters on your account. So I guess let's get into it. So I'm not going to put every character in this tier list because, like, obviously we have so many here. Like, so many of these characters are so bad. Like, if I would put them in the tier list, they'd all just be in the bottom tier because they're just so bad. But, like, you know, Smoker, for example, he's like a D rank character because he's still an orb booster at the end of the day. He's still semi-usable, same as this guy, same as this one as well. Like, this semi-usable. Who else is, like, sort of okay? I mean, a lot of these characters are pretty bad. I mean, maybe he's an attack, like, all these characters are, like, 1.75 attack or orb boosters. Like, they're just, they're okay if you're just getting into the game, but they're not characters that you're gonna use all the time. This Moria sometimes was used. Like, a lot of these are just not, like, super great, though. Kanjuro and I mean, Kinemon is like a C rank character. He's good on Slasher and Free Spirit teams to reduce your character's cooldowns. And the good thing about him is that he has double special activation upon using his limit break, so you can actually get like multiple turns of cooldown charged like automatically. It's really interesting. Not a character you're gonna use all the time. This guy's orb manipulation, but like not great. Like where else are we? I mean, Don Jiao, he's an orb booster and he is a damage reducer. Pretty interesting kind of special. Gladius, I would say, is kind of up here. I mean, for shooters specifically, shooters don't have many good things going for them, so any kind of support for them is going to help them out, and Gladius kind of does that. He's a color affinity booster, and he also gives you a little bit of utility, so he's not too bad. I mean, he's not great though, I'll admit. Who else do we have here? Okay, now we're getting into the sort of the newish era. Okay, I think Shiryu is a relatively high tier Colosseum character. He's actually got a really interesting special where, depending on how much health the enemy has, he can like instantly KO them. So it's a multiplier times his attack. So I think it ends up being around, if they got like 150,000 HP or less, he just instantly kills them. So, you know, those high defense mobs that have like, you know, 6 hit points, he can just auto kill them. And he also reduces damage taken by 50% for 3 turns. Pretty interesting kind of special. So I guess he's kind of up there because if we're just talking raw free-to-play, this guy's going to help you out in a lot of content. He's nice to have for sure. And then past that as well, we've also got like Mark Weiss. He's a 1.75 color affinity booster to strikers. Pretty interesting. Kiros sometimes was used, but he's like not super amazing. Neko Mamashi, I think, is like an A tier character. I think he's actually really good, even in today's day and age. If the enemy has like a debuff protector or a delay protector, he just like gives you a full board of orbs, and he gives a 1.75 attack booster to 2 separate classes. Like, really good character across the board. He's a nice unit to have, that's for sure. But then past that, I mean, like, this Hydrogen is very similar to this Moria. Very similar. Then you've got like the Neo units as well. I'm not going to put the Neo units on here. You've got the Colosseum Lucy as well. I'd say he's like a B tier character. I mean, he's very similar to Neko in a way, except he has like a set amount of orbs that he gives you. Like, he gives strength, dex, and quick orbs. So he's not good in a lot of cases, but sometimes you might need a character like that. Colosseum NL, he is the best, or one of the best Colosseum characters in the game, hands down. He's used in so much content, amazing utility, and if your captain happens to be driven, you get a chain boost on top of that, so it's just so valuable to have a character like that. So NL is definitely one of the best Colosseum characters in the game, hands down. I don't think too many people are going to disagree with that. Then we've got Pedro. He's a 1.75 color affinity booster to Cerebral. He's not used that much nowadays. I'd say he's around like the mid tier. He's okay. He is not terrible, I'll admit. This Rayleigh, he's actually got a pretty good utility special. I'd say he's probably a B tier. I mean, look, specifically if you're free to play, this is a character you probably want to have. If you're building like Slasher or Free Spirit teams, he's really, really good for them. Then after that, we are moving into this area here, which we've got, like, he's okay as well. He's an attack booster. He's a relatively low tier unit that doesn't see much play, but he's int and he's a fighter character, pretty cool. Then past that, we've got Colosseum Kid, which I would probably say is still an S tier character, even though a lot of characters these days, you don't really need like Kid to clear content with. But again, if you don't have many Colosseum characters, like, this is a character you probably want to have. He allows you to clear easy content a lot more easier, and like, if you don't have Legend Kaido, or you're not using Legend Kaido, but you have the accessibility to use him, then Kid is a really good option to use. He's just a really good unit. Colosseum Neptune, I also think is like is an S tier character. Amazing utility. He's got a nice balance of utility and offensive power. He is immensely useful to have. And he also has a really good crewmate ability, where any other character that uses a special, he reduces his own cooldown. So, you know, even though his cooldown is naturally relatively high, you can actually get it down to a reasonable amount after using a couple of specials. So he's a really good unit. And if you don't have him, you should definitely look at getting him maxed. He is so powerful. And then past that, I mean, Opera, I would say he's like a CT character, and the only reason why I'd put him here is because, like, he's not really used at all in generic play. The only reason why people use Opera is for his support effect. He has a really good support effect where he can remove Despair. So if you don't have his support max, I would probably suggest doing that. But outside of that, no, he's pretty bad. Then we've got Colosseum Kuma, who I would say is like a B or an A tier character. When he first came out, he was definitely like an A tier or an S tier character. But as time's gone on, he just hasn't seen as much play. He still has decent ore manipulation. He still has decent utility, but he only removes like 3 turns of the debuffs that he removes. So it would have been nice if it was a little bit higher, but still, I think he's a good character. I definitely use Kuma a lot more than these characters in B tier, that's for sure. I mean, like, personally speaking, I do use Kinemon a lot more than a lot of these other characters here, but it's just like the way that I like to play. But if we're talking about, you know, if you don't have any of the Colosseum characters maxed, or you only have a very select few of them maxed, which one should you go for next? I think definitely, you know, some of these ones near the top are the ones you should probably be going for. Alright, so next we're moving on to Colosseum Daifuku. He's okay, but I just don't use it. I'm going to put him in D tier just because, like, he's okay on paper, but at the same time, I can't really suggest maxing him out. He's just not that useful to have. Same with this guy, Tamago. He is like a character on paper. He's okay, but not really used all that much. We've got this Sicilian. Sicilian is actually pretty good if you don't have a good int attack booster. If you are lacking a really good int damage booster, then Sicilian is going to be one that you may want to look out for. He's pretty good, but like, once you start getting other powerful Sugofest exclusives, then you don't really need him anymore, or some of the other more powerful, more recent rare recruits, you don't need him anymore. But again, it just depends on what kind of characters you have. Colosseum Oven. I think Oven is a really good character. I'm going to put him in A tier. Essentially a full board ore manipulation and an ore booster for multiple turns for Strength X Quick. Just a really good unit. Then we've got Magellan. Magellan is easily an S tier character. Self-procking toxic or poison conditional booster, and he has utility as well. Like, this unit is insane, and he has a really good class and color combination. Like, so much about this character I love. Really good unit. Smoothie, I think, is like an A tier character. I think she's fantastic. Color affinity to 2 separate classes. Beneficial orb enabling as well. Slasher Powerhouse, like, great class combination as well. She's int. Int is always powerful. So, really, really nice stuff. Then you got, Colosseum Pika. I can't really suggest farming him, honestly. Like, outside of, like, really old GARP challenges, this guy essentially never sees play. So I can't suggest maxing him out. And you got, like, Katakuri. Katakuri is, like, a D tier character. Maybe C tier if you want to be generous. Like, he's beneficial orb enable for 2 separate classes for Striker and Powerhouse. And if there's, like, I think it's 4 or more enemies, he gets you a guaranteed delay. But at the same time, it's like, if you want to run something like that, if you've got V3 Katakuri, you just use him instead. So I can't really suggest farming him up. He's not, like, that useful. Brock, he sucks. Then you got, that's Neo Moria. Neo Neptune. I mean, look, I don't want to put the Neos in here, but, like, Neo Neptune, he's essentially the same as this Neptune, but for a different color, and he has different classes as well. So if you ever see Neo Neptune up, you want to get him maxed. He's really good. Dofi Treble. Dofi Treble's pretty good. I'm going to say they're like an A tier or a C or a B tier. A or B, I'd say. Like, personally speaking, I don't use them that much. I just don't see a need for them, but I know that for many people that don't have good chain lockers, this is very, very good to have. So yeah, I'd say that 8 is relatively fair. I mean, they have a really good switch effect as well. So yeah, I think that's fair for Dofi Treble. And then we've got Morley. Morley, I would say, is an ST character. Self-proc and conditional boost can actually last... Your conditional boost can actually go through multiple different stages, and that's such a unique effect to have, as well as having very good utility. Great class combination as well. Morley is a fantastic unit. Make sure to get him maxed. He is a very difficult Colosseum, though. So, obviously, when he comes out, you got to be very careful, but... Get him max. He's very good. Jinbei is another also like really good unit. I'm gonna say he's like an A tier unit because I think if I remember correctly, he like gets rid of all turns of threshold, something like that, and like he's also a chain booster as well. Like a very unique character that you should probably get done. I know that a lot of people didn't get him maxed when he first came out, and then I remember like the treasure map came out, and people that didn't have Colosseum Jinbei max were in a lot of strife. So make sure to get him maxed because he's very, very good. Next we got Law, the Stampede Law. He's okay. I think he's like a B tier. He gets, he's actually probably 80 now that I'm thinking about it, because he is a special bind remover. I think he gets rid of attack down as well, and he also is an attack booster for Cerebral. I think he's an attack booster for Slasher as well, but it all depends on like how much HP you have. I think you have to be above 50% to get the attack boost, so like that's obviously a bit of a downside, but like, and another bit of a downside for him as well is that he's a Trafalgar Law character, and there's already a lot of good Law characters in the game, so you may struggle to put him on a team, but on paper, very, very good unit across the board. Hody Jones, no doubt in my mind, he is an ST character. Just a utility god. Utility beast. And he's a health cutter. And he's striker powerhouse. Like, what more could you want? He's just freaking awesome. You should max him out. He's very, very powerful. Oars, I think Oars is also really underrated. I'm going to put him as an A tier character because he only removes the debuffs that he removes by 4 turns instead of 5 turns. But at the same time, he does have a really good skill set. And he does pretty good damage. I mean, that's basically it. He's got good utility, good damage. That's basically it. Just good unit. Just a good unit. Kiyoshiro. Look, since he came out, I personally have not used him that much. He does a little bit of ore manipulation, but it is very specific ore manipulation. And he's a damage reducer, and he's a chain booster, I believe. So, like, he's okay. Just personally speaking, I haven't used him as much as I really would have thought I would have used him. But he's okay. He's a good unit. Next is Shutenmaru. This, honestly, I have not used this character outside of the treasure map that he came out for. But he's an attack booster for 2 classes. He is beneficial orb enable. I think he makes tandem orbs appear more often. Like, again, this is another character that I thought I was going to use a lot, but I just haven't used him. I can't really suggest maxing him out because, like, personally speaking, I haven't used him. So I can't really say like yeah, you have to max him out because he's really good. Like on paper, if a character is good, yeah, that's one thing. But if a character is good but you're not using them, then is it really worth maxing out? Like preferably over the characters in the tier above? Probably not. Like I do definitely use a lot of these other characters a lot more than I do Shutenmaru or Kiyoshiro. So I guess that's kind of a fair placing for them. Next is going to be Sungor. I say Sungor is like here because he heals, he is an orb manipulator, and he's a color affinity booster. Like lots of good effects on a free-to-play unit, and he's a Sanji character, which means you can have a lot of good support effects attached to him. So yeah, I think Sanji's relatively fair to put in an A tier. And then you got Komurasaki, who is another really good utility unit. I think I definitely use Komurasaki a lot more than the characters in B and C tier. And yeah, I'd say like this is probably where I'd put Komurasaki. She's got really good utility as well, and she has double special activation, so when you launch her special, you can actually get like multiple turns of heal, because she's a healer as well, and multiple turns of debuff removal. So yeah, I think Komurasaki is fair to put it A. And then Dogstorm. Dogstorm, when he first came out, dude, I used him so much, but now that meta's kind of gone, I still want to put him in A tier because he is so good. He does so much. He removes like Despair, Threshold, and he's a 2x attack booster to 2 colors. Like, this unit is actually bonkers good. Really good. But outside of like his release month, I haven't used him that much. But still, on paper, a really, really good unit. And then this guy, Kizaru. This is arguably the best Kizaru in the game. I'd say hands down, it is the best Kizaru in the game. In regular play. Obviously in Pirate Rumble you've got the legend, but this Kizaru is great. He is a cooldown reducer, he is a orb booster, I think he's a beneficial orb enabler as well. Like, he is a really powerful unit, and if you have like the super type Katakuri or the super type Blackbeard, this is a character that you probably want to get done. He helps out those teams a little bit, so free to play wise, he is a very good unit to have for your team. Very, very nice. Then you got King, who just came out on Global. King, I'm gonna leave him. He could be B tier, but I think at the moment, I think I'm gonna leave him at A tier. It's just after this month of like the quick bosses related to, you know, the super type Hawkins and super type Kid. How often are you going to be using Colosseum King? Because his condition for all of his effects to activate is your captain has to be Dex. Well, that's in order to get your conditional boost. So, you know, plus he's a delayed conditional boost. And a lot of enemies have either full immunity or a delay immunity. Like a majority of the time, that's the case. So you're not going to be getting his conditional boost active a lot of the time. But I think just across the board, he is still a good unit that you should probably get maxed out. But I think with that, I mean, now we're at the era of the JP Coliseum, so they're obviously a few Coliseums ahead. We're not going to be touching up on them in this video today. We'll be leaving them for a future video. But so I think currently on Global, this is a relatively fair breakdown of where each of the Coliseum characters are kind of ranked. And then all the other characters, obviously the Neo ones could be put pretty much where their counterparts are, but all the other ones are pretty much like E tier characters or F tier characters, like just characters that you just don't need to max out. Like, it is what it is. I think the ones in A and S tier, those are the ones you should definitely be prioritizing, but then there are definitely the ones in B tier that I would still probably suggest to max out. And then, like, you got these other ones which are like, they were really good in the past, but at the moment, yeah, not so much. But definitely S and A tier are like amazing units that if you have them maxed out, it makes clearing content so much easier. So make sure to get these ones done. But anyways, that is going to pretty much wrap it up. I mean, if you guys have any other opinions down below in the comment section, let me know. And if there is a Colosseum character that I potentially missed, what character would you put in this tier list? Because honestly speaking, like, you got Brook and Pika, like, you could probably put them in like C tier and stuff. But I mean, I'm just speaking from experience. I've had these characters and I just haven't used them. I used Brook on the treasure map that he came out with, and that's basically it. I haven't used him outside of that. Pika, I used him for a couple of old GARP challenges, but those GARP challenges aren't even in the game anymore, so there's no need for Pika. Outside of that, there just isn't really much need for all these other trash units. But anyways, that is going to wrap it up. Hopefully you learned something, and hopefully this helps you out with choosing which Colosseum character to farm. But if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to go ahead and hit the like button. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.